Hello, fellow wastelanders. I am Finn Crosses Out, but everyone calls me Finn. And today, I will be introducing the Machinist cabin. And now, what we have here is the usual setup. That's the Machinist cabin, the main cabin, the big boy cabin. And then we do have the mammoths again, as I said in the previous video. And we have the radar back there, and if we remove this, the generator is perfectly snugged in there. And then if we go underneath, this is one of those exceptions that I was talking about, where we might have to use some stuff outside of the Scavenger faction. But yes, this is the car jack, and the Colossus engine is right above it, as well as the flywheel. And then the generator's right there as well. And then y'all saw that ammo pack that we have, but just to take a better look, I mean, the cabin as a whole is just perfect for hiding modules like that. That 4x2 hole alone really speaks for itself there. But then we have one of my favorite decors to use, the exhaust pipe, and then we got the swarms again. We got the legs, but I had to do the stickers differently this time because of how I imagined the setup in my head. Now, one thing I do need to mention though is one of the parts that y'all saw is actually a part of the Scavenger faction, and this specific one, I didn't mention it in the other video with the BWC Warrior cabin, but I've used two of those up front. I didn't really think about that whenever I was recording, but yeah, I just want to put a little disclaimer there about that. And as I'm running around, I just want to explain a few things. The Machinist cabin isn't really meant to do a lot of damage, well, at least in my opinion. It just makes it to where your stuff can survive longer. So, the Machinist cabin, as I said, is not really meant for damage. It's more meant for survival. And what it does is, the more durability it has, the more durability your weapons have. And as you can see, the Mammoth cannon has a lot of durability by default, even though it isn't fused for 10% durability. Mine is fused for less mass, of course. But if we do the math, it would be the Mammoth's durability times 0.35, which is 35%. And then it'll give you the extra durability you'll get from the perk. And then you add that back into it. And then the Mammoths have 1,733 durability, which is crazy. Okay, without further ado, let's see how this thing does in PvP. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and just like with the BWC Warrior mech, I have also uploaded the Machinist Mech in the exhibition, and as always, you can save it and customize it to your liking. And I've thought that I should mention that I recently gotten myself 2 pulsars and a Nova cabin. So, a little teaser of what you might see next when it comes to making art builds that actually perform like regular builds. And as always, happy cross-outing, and don't forget to stay goated. Also, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but leave a comment on which mech you've liked better. Me personally, it's definitely the BWC Warrior cabin. I'm saying the BWC Warrior cabin because it matches my playstyle so well. And I felt like with the Machinist cabin, I was so sloppy because I'm so used to being aggressive and stuff. And even though being passive is a great thing sometimes, it's just not really my best suit. So, yeah, just give me your reason on which cabin is your favorite if you decide to comment. Leave a comment. Thank you again for watching.